prepared by God. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Here we go. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit to the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The Bible has a way of understating things, doesn't it? The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man does not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to a holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it's written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All of this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Then the devil left him. The angels came and attended him. You know, when they do testing for pilots to become, pilots of American Airlines, whatever, they have flight simulators, right, to test the pilots to see if they're good enough to become real pilots. And in these flight simulators, to test them, they don't test them in such a way as it's a really nice sunny day, and it's just a calm breeze as they take off, and they're up there and everything's nice, and then there's a nice calm landing. That is not their way of testing. You realize that, don't you? I mean, when they have these flight simulators, they take off and it's in stormy weather and the wind's blowing and the rain's coming down, and then a flock of geese come and then that get caught in the engine, and now one engine is shut down, and they get up there, then there's a tornado, and then some hijackers bust into the things, with guns to their heads, and they got the tornado swirling, and the hijackers with the guns thing going right there. And then the wheels, when they come down, the wheels fall off, and now they've got to kind of skid without the wheels. And if they can do all that, okay, you can be a pilot. And obviously very few make it on the first time, It takes them 5 or 6 times. Why is it? Don't you want a pilot that has done all that to be able to fly your plane? Yeah, why? Because you want him tested. You want to make sure he's the real deal. You want to make sure he's a genuine pilot. He knows what he's doing. And God, in preparing Jesus for the ministry, was put him through this test right after his baptism. Right after you get baptized, that first year is a tough year. A lot of people don't make it their first year after baptism. Why? Because the testing of Satan says, you want to be totally committed? You want your entire life to be run by Jesus? Let's just see. Here you go. Bam! Right? And you're tested. Well, the same here with Jesus. Jesus gets baptized, and immediately he is tested. One of the things there's so many reasons that Jesus came. Jesus came to lead a perfect life. Jesus came to train the 12. Jesus came to shed his blood so you and I could be forgiven. Jesus came to raise from the dead, to deal with Satan his final death blow. Isn't that true? But when you think about Jesus' life, one of the things that he showed us how to be successful where man was not successful. In other words, Adam comes into the world, he sins. Jesus comes into the world, he's perfect. The Israelites, for 40 years, were in the desert, and they complained and they rebelled against God because of their testing and their difficult situation. Jesus says, let me show you how it's done. He goes to the desert and for 40 days doesn't eat anything. He is fasting for 40 days in a desert to show this is how you are tested and suffer, and do it in such a way as to honor and glorify God.